my Spanish exam. Doing pretty well. I'm actually a pretty good studier. Do you know anything about study habits and tips? No? Well, that's okay. Would you like me to teach you a little bit about them? Well, they're pretty good. They're pretty nifty things to know. There's a lot of different ones. Like for example, we have mnemonics, binaural beats. Avoiding distractions is important. You have to have the proper study utensils, obviously, pens, paper, pencils, highlighters, things like that. Study locations are also very important, and also time management is one of the most important things. And keeping organized is also very important. So do you know what mnemonics are? Would you like to learn about mnemonics? Okay. Well, a mnemonic is going to be any learning technique that helps in aiding information retention. There's a few different types of mnemonics, and I've chosen a few that I think maybe will be useful for you. So one is going to be a music mnemonic, and that's going to be turning information into a song to promote retention. A good example of that is going to be like the alphabet. Now, the most widely used one is going to be expression mnemonics, and that's going to be the first letter of each word is going to be used to make up a phrase. So, for example, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is a mnemonic that's commonly used in mathematics, and that's going to be for the order of operations, which is parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. Now, the last type of mnemonic that I have for you is going to be name mnemonics, which is going to use the first letter of each word in a list to create a person's name. And I actually have my study assistant is going to help us out with an example of a name mnemonic. Study assistant.
Hi, I will show you what Roy G. Biv is. Roy G. Biv is the color of the rainbow. R is the first one, so it's red, orange, yellow, and then G is green, blue, indigo, and violet. You're going to look at it as one name. Roy is the first one, G, the middle initial, and then the last one is Biv as the last name. There you go.
So do you know anything about avoiding distractions when you're trying to study? No? Well, avoiding distractions when you're trying to study is very important, because if there's noise in the background, things like that, music, it's going to hinder your ability to retain information when you're studying. My study partner actually used to have a horrible roommate who would watch the football games really loud when he was trying to study his apartment.
He's supposed to have punted. The block is on, and they didn't get it. And did they get the punter? Pierce back to the 30-yard line. He needs all kinds of blocks. There's one block. 40-yard line. He's in the head. He's in the 40. Gets down his feet. And the clock is on.
Let's go! Oh, what's wrong, man? What's wrong? I can't stay in this environment. What's wrong? I need to study. Can't have these distractions.
So do you know the importance of having a particular study location? No? Well, it's actually a pretty important thing to have a set place that you want to study at. That way you know that it's always going to be quiet and there's not going to be distractions there. My study partner used to study at the mountain lair, and that's definitely not a good place to study. There's always people talking and making noise. So he started studying at the library, and that actually seemed to be working out a lot better for him.
Well, did you see game last night, man? It was nasty, man.
Which game are you guys talking about?
Steelers game, man.
Yeah, Steelers.
You like the Steelers game?
Yeah, of course.
Steelers are shit, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do. Absolutely, man.
Alright, so you know the importance of having the proper study materials with you? No? Well, having the proper study materials is actually pretty important. You're not going to be able to take notes in class if you don't have a a pen and a piece of paper, obviously, so that's very important. You know, whenever you're looking in your textbooks, you know, we're in college now, so we get to buy textbooks. We can highlight in them, which is a very good study habit. You know, also note cards, things like that. My teaching assistant actually does have a few study materials with him at this time, so he's going to go ahead and explain to you the importance of each of those.
Now, it's always good to come to class prepared. First of all, you would want your binder and pen with you at all times. It's always good to have a little bit of extra pens with you just in case one of them runs out of ink. Another good thing to study is index cards. Index cards, you can use them as flashcards, put vocabulary words on them, and you can use it as a memorization tool. Now, with highlighters, it is important not to over-highlight. This is an example of a bad highlighted essay. An example of a good highlighted essay is very limited in just key terms and phrases.
Alright, so you know the importance of time management skills? Well, I'm going to tell you a couple things about time management that maybe you didn't know. Time management is extremely important. You know, it's going to help you ensure that you have enough time to finish wherever your projects are, papers, homework, things like that. Make sure you have enough time to study for tests and things. It's going to help you feel more organized, to have your time planned out and everything like that. You're going to want to schedule your study time. You're going to want to make sure that there's openings in your schedule that are going to be available for you to study. I personally think that it's good to study at least 2 hours a day, even if you don't have any set things that you need to do. It's good to review your notes today, like right after you take them and things like that. It helps you remember them. Also, you know, scheduling your study time helps you to avoid cramming. Like for finals week, if you just wait till the day before your final to study, you're going to be up all night studying, and it's not really going to be a good learning experience for you. You're not going to retain the information as well as you would. Also, it's just going to make your life a little bit less stressful, trying to find time to study, things like that. It really does help, and that's why time management is so important. So do you understand the importance of keeping yourself organized? No? Well, being organized is actually extremely important. There's a few different ways to kind of help yourself keep organized. One way is utilizing folders, you know, keeping everything separated for all your different classes in folders. Generally, those should be color-coded too. That way, you can kind of know which one's which for each class. Also, having color-coded notebooks for each class for you to take notes in. Always bring it to every class. That way, if anything important is said by the teacher, you can take notes on it and write it down. Also, keep your backpack organized. There's nothing worse than having a disorganized backpack and not being able to find what you need. And another thing is avoid loose papers, and that goes along with using folders. Any loose papers, quizzes that get handed back in class, things like that. Go ahead and put them in your folders. That way they'll stay organized and you won't have a bunch of loose papers laying around.
Hey, you ready to study?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Let's get it done.
Yeah, I cannot find my notes.
How do you live like that? How do you get anything done without being that organized?
I'll try.
My notes are right here, man. I'm ready to go.
Oh, here they are.
In your pocket?
Yeah, let's study.
Paint? Is that paint on it? Oh, God. How are you going to... Oh, my...
So did you learn anything about study tips and habits today? Do you feel confident in your ability to study? You think you're going to be a little bit better of a student now? Well, that's good. I really hope that you do. All these things I've told you about are really important, and you'll be able to utilize them to make yourself a better student and be more successful in the real world.
Now, it's always important to go to class with a binder or a notebook. Always have papers with you, so that in case you need to take notes, you'll be ready to take down whatever the teacher says. And the best utensils to use are pencils. Unless it's math, then it's okay to use pens.
What?
Other way around.
I'm gonna.